Okay, good afternoon, everyone out there. My name is Dr. Vladimir Saintzer, and I serve as the Interim Dean of Students for the North Campus and West Hill Center. And with me today, we'll be talking alongside Dr. Tiffany Evans, who's over at the South Campus and the Braddock Hill Center and the Washington Crown Center as well. And then we have Dean Kristen Spiker, who serves as the Interim Dean of Students over at the Allegheny Campus, as well as the Homewood Brushes Center. So today we're gonna have a town hall to talk with everyone, provide you some information, and see how we're gonna deal with COVID-19 together for fall 2020, all right? We're all one team. We're all gonna go through this together. We're gonna learn, we're gonna live, we're gonna grow. But I think even though we understand that our goal is your success, I think your safety has to be part of our number one goal now, right? Next slide, please. I see there's some questions coming up in the chat, so I felt like might as well get to some groundkeeping, some housekeeping rules. So your microphone is muted, just so you are aware. You can ask questions by clicking on the Q&A icon on the tool bar below, as well as, besides your microphone being muted, also your camera as well. All questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. We'll have enough time to make sure during the Q&A you ask any questions for us. Next slide, please. Now, how can students access student services? I think that's probably the glaring question we're making sure to ask about. If I'm a new student now coming to CCAC, or if I'm a current student, how can I get support? How can I have access, correct? If you scroll to the next slide, and before I even talk to this next slide, I have to also announce that we do have other staff members here assisting us through this presentation. We have Kate Farmer and Benjamin Williams, who serves as student life specialists here at CCAC. So thank you, Kate. Thank you, Ben. Shout out virtually. All right. So a great resource that we have here at CCAC is our website. A lot of questions you may have can be answered here. So if you look at the www.ccac.edu, at the top bar where it says about CCAC, admissions, academics, online learning, all that, if you see the student service tab, this is where you could get a lot of information pertaining to student services and access to student services. So once you put your you put your mouse above student services, if you look to the left, that's where you can get information on the bookstore, our counseling services, our online dean will speak more information about that, support services, even tutoring services. So this is directly right on our website. Next slide, please. From there, if you scroll down to the middle, you'll see Ace with his mask on. From there, that's other information and other links you could actually click on and get some information. This is also where you can set appointments up to either have a virtual chat session with an admissions representative. You can also set a virtual advising session with our academic advisors. You could get information on your financial aid and speak with a financial aid rep. This is both for current students as well as new students too. In addition to that, on the website, down if you scroll a little bit to the right, this is where if you have created your net ID, which we could talk about that process, that's where you can log into My CCAC. Of course, when you log into My CCAC, this is another platform where you can see a lot of information. You could, whether you're taking Blackboard courses, whether you're looking at class schedules, even current events, CCAC events, list of events, will have that information. But something very, very particular that we want to pay close attention to is the COVID-19 Student Resources tab that's located under your My CCAC. Next slide, please. Once you click on that, you'll see our response to the COVID-19, but then also things that are pertaining to student information, like what's happening, what's going on, who do I need to speak to, what happens if I get sick, or all these different things. But two key points to mention today, which are highlighted, is make sure you pay attention to this COVID-19 self-screening questionnaire, as well as the COVID-19 student guide for returning to on-site. Those are the two things I'm going to discuss with you today. Next slide, please. So when it comes to the daily self-screening, these are something that we all, as faculty, staff, administrators, we all have to have daily self-screening upon entering CCAC. So if you have a class on campus, these are the questions you have to ask yourself to have a daily self-screening. Number one, do you have a temperature at or above 100.4, or any reason to be concerned that you are developing a temperature without having taken a fever-reducing medicine? Question two, Have you experienced any of the following symptoms that cannot be attributed to another health condition or specific activity, like a physical exercise, whether it be a new cough, a new shortness of breath, a new sore throat, new muscle aches? Question 3, have you had a temperature at or above 100.4 or the sense of having a fever? And question 4, within the last 14 days, have you had close contact without the use of appropriate personal protective equipment with someone who's currently sick, suspected, or confirmed COVID-19? If you can answer no to these, but if you answer yes to any of these questions, next slide, please. You're directed now to contact your dean of students at that location while also contacting your instructor to make arrangements. Once you contact us, we now will have a conversation with you. We'll speak to you about further things we have to do. But when it comes down to how you could contact us, again, going back to the CCAC website, remember the tab we talked about under student services, we have a function called Online Dean. You could contact us that way, where you click on Online Dean, you can send us some information and we'll respond to you ASAP. In addition to that, if you scroll down and you look in the middle of the page where it says Dean of Student Development, you'll see me, Vladimir St. Cyrin, and you'll see the rest of my colleagues, where if you click on the name, you'll be able to also reach out to us that way. Next slide, please. In addition to the My Resources on your My CCAC and your under the COVID-19 Student Resources page, if you look to the right of the picture, it kind of gives us all different information about different quick links that we could get to and then you could access as well. And over to, if you scroll down where it says documents, we have a list of weekly and calendar events that you can know that's happening. And I'll explain that to you. So these weekly scheduled events, these are where you can reach to either an academic advisor, you can have a conversation with one of our navigators, you can speak to our counselors. And if you click on that link, that will either set you up at Appointment Center to make an appointment with that individual or set up a virtual chat session. Next slide, please. Now, the CCAC Student Handbook is another resource for students as well. If you go on the CCAC website, right in the search box, and you type in CCAC Student Handbook, the PDF format will come up. In this document, it pretty much talks about your rights, as actually the power you hold as a student with what you can have taking courses here. I tell students all the time, if it wasn't for you, we would not be here, right? But you have to understand the power and the rights that you have as a student as well. So for example, I know under page, I think it's either 26 or 27, it talks about the academic complaint procedure, right? So let's say you want to dispute a grade, or you have an altercation or just something transpiring with an instructor, you can see the rules, the policies, and the procedures on how you could dispute that grade or have a conversation with one of ourselves. But the student handbook has a plethora of information as well. Next slide. Now I will have the lovely, lovely way of introducing our next Dean of Students, Dean Kristen Spiker, who's overseeing the Allegheny campus as well as the Home Aggression Center.
Thank you, Vladimir. Good afternoon, everyone. As Vladimir stated, we're so excited to be seeing you all again. And for our new students, we're really excited to welcome you to CCAC. We recognize this is not normally how we would be doing things, but we are pleased just to have the opportunity to reach out with you and work with you. My portion of today's presentation is to talk about the top 5 must-dos for students. And the intention of this is to help you to be prepared and successful, whether you're a current student or a new student in the upcoming semester. Next slide, please. So first and foremost, for those of you who are new students joining us today, we strongly encourage you to attend the new student orientation occurring this Friday. There's a morning session as well as an afternoon session, and orientation provides a unique opportunity for you to meet CCAC staff, learn about the processes and procedures of the college, and just have the opportunity to engage with other students. So if this is something you have not yet scheduled, I would suggest that you visit our website today. As you can see in the upper slide, you'll select admissions, selecting student orientation. And if you click on by service, you'll have the opportunity to select the student orientation. And again, you'll have the opportunity to select either a morning session or an afternoon session. Next slide, please. Next, we want to make sure that all students have created a net ID and their academic email address. For anyone who is unsure if they have done that, if you have not actually logged in quite some time and need to reset your password, all of those things can be done right with the Welcome to Net ID self-service. So to find that, you would go to our homepage, scroll all the way to the bottom to Student Net ID. It will bring you to the lovely blue screen in the middle, and you will click Next to go ahead and move through that process. The Net ID allows you to log into your myccac.edu portal page, and that's where you can view your emails, you can view your class schedule, financial aid award, important upcoming events. Everything can be found through that portal page, so I would encourage you to go ahead and create that Net ID. Next slide, please. All students should make sure to familiarize yourselves with the academic calendar. We all know that there are important dates in our life that we have to be aware of, when we're getting our next paycheck, when our bills are due each month, when that cell phone bill has to be paid. The same process occurs when you're going to college. So you want to make sure that you remember the last day to drop classes or doing an add to your classes. When midterm grades are going to be available so you can see how you're doing and what your progress is in your courses. The last day to withdraw from courses, as well as when final exams are occurring so you can prepare in advance, adjust your work schedule if needed. The other important date on our important date listing is when you can begin registering for your spring 2021 classes. And that's an important opportunity for you to get a jump start, make sure that you're selecting the classes you want at the times and days that you want. On the right side, you can also see the important dates will include those financial aid important dates, as well as that bookstore charging period. So our bookstore charging period for students who receive financial aid or sponsorship became available on Monday, August 10th, and it will run through September 11th. So you want to make sure that you let the bookstore know that you do have financial aid on file so that you can utilize that as your bookstore charge. Next slide, please. We want you to be prepared for your classes. So we want to make sure that you're visiting our bookstore, that you are taking a look at the books that are required based upon your class schedule. And we want to make sure that you have those things in preparation for that first class on Monday. So our bookstores are open on campus with some limited hours. They are listed there. But you can also do the online CCAC bookshop that would enable you to order your books as well, and in many cases have them delivered to your homes. Next slide, please. So be aware when you get to the bookstore page, you'll select Shop Tech if you're looking for any technology devices, Shop Supplies if you're looking for any supplies that you may need for courses, and then underneath that would be Shop Books. Shop Tech is circled because we also want you to be aware that we have CCAC recommended technology available within our bookstore. And that is just to make sure that if you are in the market for a new computer, you know that those things can be purchased through our bookstore and that you will be assured that they are at the quality and have the necessary requirements that you would need for your courses. I also want to make sure you're aware we do have a bookstore return policy. So if you purchase books for your classes and it turns out you don't need it, or they decide that there's a different book that you might need, you can return those books within 14 days of the start of your class with a receipt, and as long as they are not opened or out of the wrapping. So just keep that in mind as well. Bus passes can also be purchased at our bookstore. So for those of our students who are planning to utilize the public transportation system, you can purchase your bus passes through the bookstore. And as we move into this next slide on food service, you can also purchase meal passes at our bookstores For Allegheny campus and Boyce campus, that will be important for you to be aware of, because during the fall semester, Allegheny and Boyce will have grab and go options for students who are on campus. And Starbucks will also be open this fall. I know we're all excited for the Starbucks to be there. I also want to make sure you're aware, if you're planning to bring a water bottle to campus each day, we will have touchless water fountains available in most locations, so that's a great way to keep you prepared for your day, and vending machines available at most locations as well. Next slide. Finally, and most importantly, Zoom etiquette. Now that we're relying so heavily on the virtual environment for our services, for our classes, it's important that we have everyone aware of expectations when you're in that online environment. So first and foremost, please dress appropriately. And what that means is dress like you would if you were coming on campus for classes. It's important that even when you're in that Zoom environment or that online environment, that you create a schedule for yourself, that you're still getting to class like you would in a timely manner and wearing appropriate dress for the classroom. Additionally, we want you to be respectful of your classmates by ensuring that your mic is muted and being aware of the background that you have when you are participating in class. Zoom also offers additional features that allow you to engage with your host and with your classmates. That might be the raise hand icon, or you can also participate in the chat. But remember, a lot of times our Zoom sessions are recorded, and once you have that in chat, it's going to be viewable to everyone. Finally, lights, camera, action. Please make sure you're paying attention to the lighting within your room to make sure you're visible on screen. Also pay attention to your actions and facial expressions, because they do give things away, and that will be visible to everyone within your classroom. Next slide, please. I would now like to introduce Dr. Tiffany Evans, the Dean of Students at the South Campus, Washington Crown Center, and Braddock Hill Center.
Thank you, Dean Spiker. I wanted to go over with you just some financial supports that we have in place. I'm sure some of you are wondering how you're going to afford or pay for this, so here are some options that you can pursue. In looking at the slides, you can see we direct you to the FAFSA.ed.gov website. We encourage all of our students to complete the FAFSA application every year. We also want to direct you just directly to the CCAC financial aid webpage that we have out there. You can find this link under the admissions tab if you go to our main website. One thing I want to call your attention to is there are scholarships that are available as well, but the deadline date for those scholarships is coming up. It's August 21st. So you want to make sure that you go to that website and you scroll down the page and just look at all those scholarship opportunities and submit your application so you can be considered. In addition to that, we have some quick financial aid facts just to let students know and make sure you're aware and set your expectations. If you're getting the federal Stafford loan, credits will be applied to the student's accounts in 2 installments per semester, so you're expecting that. Students receiving aid that exceeds your tuition and your books. Kristen spoke to you about being able to charge your books from the bookstore against your financial aid. So if your award exceeds that tuition and your book costs, you'll be sent the refund check or a direct deposit check will be submitted into your account. You always want to check the status of your financial aid, which you can do on the My CCAC portal page. Next slide, please. So in addition to that, there are some other financial supports that are available to you. We have the Student Emergency Gap Fund application, which is available to assist students. There is a limited amount that you can apply for per semester. It's $500 with a lifetime award of $1,000. We definitely need you to demonstrate the need, but you can simply fill out this form and you can submit that to your dean on campus, your dean of students on campus. In addition to that, there are some additional financial resources that are available through the COVID-19 Emergency Fund. And the application is there. Again, you can find that on our financial aid website. So if you need additional financial support, that's a great avenue for you to look into. Next slide, please. Student advocacy is something that's really important to us, and we have some departments on campus that can definitely assist with that. We have our CCAC navigators that will help students connect with community resources that are out there and available to assist you. If you find that you need to contact the CCAC navigator, as Dean and Dr. St. Cyrin mentioned earlier, if you go to the My CCAC portal and you click on that student COVID-19 resource link, it'll actually take you into our website and you can select the weekly schedule. They have chats that they run throughout the week. It also has their email address there. So you can email them or contact them directly if you need to. In addition to that, you will find information also listed there for supportive services. And they really help to work with our students to advocate for them. And those are our students that have been diagnosed with a disability. And so they are available, they are on campus, you can visit them virtually, you can email them. They're a great resource for our students as well. Next slide. I just want to call your attention to the fact that we have support available for our specialized populations. And so as you look down this list, I referenced the supportive services group that works with our students with diagnosed disabilities, but we also have our Pittsburgh Promise support out there. We have Keys, we have support for our athletes, our military and veterans. We have international student support. We have student success coaches and Perkins Career Technical Educational Specialists. They will help you navigate through college and find resources. They will help you with time management skills. They will help you with note taking. If you don't know how to approach a problem that you're experiencing with, they're a good resource to go to as well. Next slide, please. In terms of student success, we have many things in place to help our students be successful. We have, through our learning services, we have Learning Commons, which is available if you need that writing support. It doesn't matter what subject. We have a host of facilitators out there that will help you. If you just need help getting started or you want someone to proof your paper, they are the ones to go to, as well as we have the Learning Assistance Center. So we have actual tutors in various disciplines across the curriculum here that can assist you. They can actually provide one-on-one tutoring for up to 50 minutes with our students. So that's an available resource. And then in addition to that, if you're enrolled in one of our math courses, we have a math cafe facilitator. And you can just pop in there and they can assist you with working on your problems or your classwork for any of our math courses that we're offering. So those resources are available and the times are listed there. For the fall semester, they're going to be available Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 7. Friday, they're going to be available 9 a.m. to 4:30. And then Saturday, they will be available 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, in addition to all of that, we also have our Smart Thinking. Smart Thinking is an online tutorial service that's free to our students. So if it's after hours or before hours and you need some help, you can go to that Smart Thinking link and someone will be available to help you 24/7. Next slide, please. It's important to note that our library services will be open and available for the fall 2020 semester. There is an Ask Librarian link that students can access if they have questions or if they need assistance from our librarians. They are working to enhance the electronic resources and reserves that we have on file for our students to support them in being successful in the classroom. I just want you to keep in mind that the libraries will be physically open, but they will have limited hours. It's really more or less on a grab and go type basis in the library, but we just want to support our students and make sure they have the necessary resources to be successful. Next slide. Student engagement. Student engagement is extremely important to the success of our students. And so we encourage all students to get involved and engaged in the CCAC community. If you are on our website, our main website, and you go to the Student Life tab across the top on the ribbon, you will actually see a drop-down menu will appear. You'll see all of the different ways that you can be engaged with our CCAC community. We have athletics and fitness. We have a campus events calendar that you can check to just see what's going on and to connect with us that way. We have food pantries available on all the locations. So if that's a need, certainly you can link in with us and we can support you in that way. Civic engagement, I mentioned, that's extremely important, and we are extremely active in our communities. So that's another resource. And we have a lot of clubs and organizations. So if you have a special interest or something that you want to get involved in, or something just simply you're just interested in, clubs and organizations is a great resource for you. In addition to that, I mentioned if you're a military or a veteran, we have that support available for you to connect with your peers, as well as get connected with our specialists who have the expertise in that field. We have a campus newspaper, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but the link to get there is right there. We have student engagement transcripts. So all of the activities, the way you get engaged with us on campus, you can actually have printed on a transcript. And you can take that to a job interview, or you can take it if you decide to transfer to a four-year institution. It really speaks to your character and that you are invested, engaged, and involved in your education. Another benefit that our students aren't usually aware of is, as a student, there are student discounts out there. So you can get student discount tickets to actually attend events and activities around the area. And so you can click on that student discount link, and it will take you to the page of what's available for you. I want to note that you want to reach out to our student life office on that campus just to ensure. Some of the places that we have the student discount tickets have limited availability because of our current state in terms of COVID-19 and being in a pandemic. So that's always something you want to be mindful of. We also have student government, which is a great opportunity for students in terms of leadership opportunities and just getting involved and having a say on what goes on our campus. So all of those things are available to you under our student engagement tab. And so we just want to make sure you are aware of those. Next slide. And so a little bit more about what I was referencing in the previous slide. To the right, you can see we talk about The Voice. The Voice is that campus newspaper that you have access to. It'll keep you up to date on what's going on. You'll see interesting articles about your colleagues and community. So it is a great resource for students. On the left-hand side, you'll see that we list out specifically what student life and our engagement team is involved in. They are setting up the virtual student orientation, as well as the orientation that's taking place this Friday. They set up normally, under normal circumstances, activities there, but we're doing a lot of our events using Zoom now. So you can link with us remotely, and you want to check that campus event calendar to do so. We also have a single point of contact team. So that team is very helpful in connecting with a lot of our new students coming on campus, and they will help you navigate through the community college community. And so they're an excellent resource. And you might find that they call you and just check on you and say, hey, how's it going? You know, so they're available, and that's an additional resource you should use. In terms of there's constant programming around social and academic activities on campus. And then if you would like to engage with them or reach out to them to get more information, we provided the email right there for you to do so. In addition to that, we have career services that's available on campus. Many of you might be thinking about the next step, right? After you go and you take a few classes and you earn a degree, you might be thinking of transitioning into the workforce. We have career services available to assist you with that. They work very closely with our academic division. They work with our employers to make sure they know what's going on in those industries, what job opportunities are available to assist with our students. They will do virtual appointments with our students. They will review your resume or your cover letter before you send it out. So they're a great resource. And we have also provided their email address there for you as well. Next slide. Athletics. Many of you out there might be interested in athletics, and so we want to make sure you have that information. To the left, you can see all of the athletic teams that we have. To the right, you will notice that based on our NJCAA conference, we've shifted most of our sports season to the spring semester due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So just keep that in mind. The eligibility rules still remain in place and should be adhered to for the upcoming season. So you want to be mindful of those things. Coaches are always looking for students who are interested in experienced athletes to complete their rosters. And so what we've done is in the middle, you will find the contact information for our director, our athletic director, Tori O'Donnell there. You can reach her by phone at 412-237-2533, or you can send her an email using her first initial and last name at ccac.edu. Next slide. Student completion is definitely something that's important. We look forward to graduation every year normally. So one of the things that we have in place, or we have several things in place to help you be successful, but in terms of completion, we have academic advisors available. They are available to assist new students in advisement. They help create a development of academic planning for you. They also help with course selection and then also reviewing graduation requirements. So that is definitely a resource you want to take advantage of, or yeah, you want to take advantage of them for sure. And in terms of counseling, we have counselors available, right? And they help with personal counseling, career counseling, if you're not sure what major you want to go into, or maybe you thought you wanted to be a nurse, but you're deciding maybe that's not for you, but you still want to stay in healthcare, they'll help you figure it out, right? And so they provide that career counseling, but also if you're interested in transferring to a four-year institution, they will work with you, work with the requirements for that institution to make sure you're taking classes at CCAC that can transfer wherever you're going. And so that's an excellent resource. And then they also provide academic counseling. Next slide. So as a recap, there are certain things we want you to definitely remember. Number one, before you come to campus, we want you to be doing that self-check questionnaire that Dr. St. Cyrin mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that you can find on our website. If you answer yes to any of those questions, we want to just please don't come to campus, okay? You want to stay home, you want to make sure you contact your instructor, and you want to contact the Dean of Students as well. We will walk you through what your next steps should be after that. Face coverings are required while on campus from all of us. So all students, faculty, and staff are required to wear face coverings. If you need special accommodations, a special mask, you can work with our supportive services team to get those accommodations in place for you. We want to also maintain good hand hygiene, right? And so please make sure you're doing that when you're on campus, when you're coming, when you're going, when you're moving from one place to the other. That's extremely important, as well as maintaining physical distancing. You will find in the classrooms that we have you properly socially distancing from one another. So you want to make sure that you maintain that even in the hallways on your way to class. And we also, just to note, outside of the rooms, you will see a maximum capacity sign. So it lets you know how many people can be in that room safely and social distance. So please abide by those notifications that we have out there to protect everyone. And finally, my last slide is that it's everyone's responsibility to be safe while you're on campus. And we are here to support you. So if you can go to the next slide for me, please. That concludes our presentation, but we're going to open it up for questions right now.
I know there was a few that I was going in there during Dr. Evans doing her part of the presentation, and I like to point out a few and just see if I can answer live with them. So the one question was about a Math 080 class and the difficulty, but then seeing if we could change the class, but then also seeing if tutoring was available. Unfortunately, with classes and working with the faculty, we can't change the class or the format of the class, right? But when it comes to whether the level of difficulty for the course, whether the assistance that's needed when pertaining to the course, we have tutoring available. And then within our math tutors, and Tiffany, correct me if I'm wrong, some of our math tutors are sometimes directly connected to a specific course. So whether it be Vlad is directly with Math 080, Tiffany maybe with Math 090, Kristen maybe would be with Math 108. All three tutors are knowledgeable in this and can assist you in all three of those, but they are tutors specifically working with that class. So tutoring is still available. That's one question. Then I had a second question answering about what does TBA mean, which is on the schedule. And I was that college freshman at one time, and I was like, man, I can't wait to meet Dr. TBA. You know, that's a cool name. I can't wait to meet with him. But TBA or TBD really is to be determined. So basically, the instructor right now that you have on your schedule hasn't been assigned to your course yet. But you can log in to My CCAC if you created your NetID and username password. And then you click the little sandwich bar to the top left. And if you click on that and you'll scroll down, you'll see something that says My Academics, right? You'll click on there. You'll be able to find information to log on to either schedule, but then also you'll be able to view your course as well.
All right, so we're moving more into the question and answer period. And I see a question here about the library. Ben, are you seeing this question too?
Yes. Okay, the question about the library I'm seeing is, will the library be limited to a certain number of people at a time during the operating hours? And will there be a limit on how long you can be in the library per day during operating hours?
I'll take that one, Ben. The answer to that question is yes. There are limited hours available. Every space on campus has a maximum capacity that we have to be aware of so that students are able to properly social distance in that space. In addition to that, it's just going to be grab and go. So people are going to be coming in, picking up resources or dropping them off, and then they're going to be leaving. And we're doing that for the safety of all parties involved. Thank you.
Okay, so the next question I have is about people who worked on campus last semester that had to quit due to the COVID crisis. Are there any jobs for people this semester online, and can they still apply for work study this semester?
Yeah, I can take that one. Yeah, you still can apply for work study this semester. And I hate assuming it's the students to work who had to quit, or is it employees or staff it was. But either way, I'll go on to say that if you do go on to www.ccacjobs.com, you do see positions that are available.
We'll also be offering work study this fall semester. So for those of you who are interested in work study, you can go through that process with our career services department and our financial aid department.
Okay, the next question I have is about the nursing program, is that they ordered their textbook bundle in the bookstore and was wondering how they would know if the textbooks are ebooks or physical. Some are being sold, both are being sold at the bookstore, but there's nothing that states that the book is physical or not.
I can take that one. Usually it is correlated with your section number. So if you are enrolled in like nursing 110, section 01, if you are putting that information into the website, for example, if you go to www.ccacshop.com and you put in your nursing code and you're putting in your section code, it should pull up those books and it should indicate there whether it's an ebook or a physical book that's needed for your class. Thank you.
The next question I have is about the welding certification program that was set for the end of spring 2020. They completed paperwork for graduation before COVID. After a several-month delay, they're set to complete the program at the end of this week. Congratulations. And do they need to complete additional paperwork to graduate to get the certificates?
If the graduation application was already submitted and the term was simply delayed, then we should still have that graduation on file. If they would like to check with the registration office to confirm, they can contact registration@ccac.edu, and we'll make certain we have everything in order for that graduation. Thank you.
The next one is actually two questions. We're going to answer the question about athletics, and I'm kind of interested about that too. How do athletics people do things with the mask on? Does the mask make it harder for them to breathe? Handbook twice, so it's a very important question.
All right, I can take that one. Well, it all depends. So if you're working out, even though you do have the mask on, and it's because I work out too, and I work out with the mask. It does help with the breathing, right? So it's almost like it's called elevation and oxygen intake. So basically, the harder it is to breathe, the stronger you're trying to make your lungs. So that's something on a whole other topic. But when it comes down to athletics, though, we are looking at, even though we're not having fall, springs, and sports have been moved on to the spring semester. Probably around October, we're trying to figure out a date. We don't have a designated time frame to start the training process and also to start the working out process and also the trying out for the teams for the spring semester process. As soon as that's down, we'll probably let everyone know, whether through email or through the Student Life event page and with our athletics, getting on Student Life calendar of when we could probably have those in place. But yeah, it is difficult working out with the mask on.
Next question, who can I ask about OPT for international students?
I can take that question. You can actually reach out to Bob Russo. He is the admissions coordinator at Allegheny campus, but he also provides coverage for the international students office. And I will put his email address in the chat so that you can reach out to him.
Next question is how, starting the nursing program, was thinking of getting my textbooks with the FAFSA refund, but unlike before, I'm only getting $100 back and was wondering why my refund has changed now that they're in the program and needs a lot of help.
I can take that question. So as I mentioned, there are several financial supports that we have available to our students. And so you definitely, in terms of your personal situation, you can just contact the financial aid office and inquire, right? They can provide you with that additional information specific to your situation. But in addition to that, please be mindful that there's that COVID-19 emergency fund application that's right there. You can submit that and get some additional financial assistance if you're eligible. And so you might want to look into that, as well as remember there are additional scholarship fund opportunities that are available with a deadline date of August 21st. And if all of those things don't work for you, keep in mind we do have the Student Emergency Gap application that's available to assist you. You can complete that and submit that to a Dean of Student Development, and we will help you with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And also to keep in mind is that you said, and again, I'm just paraphrasing from the question that, again, from this time, did your situation change from this time that when you completed your FAFSA for this fiscal year or this calendar year? Did you get a new job, not get a new job, income got up, not down? Remember, you have something called your EFC, which is the estimated financial contribution. That adjusts, right? And that's specific to you. So with the refunds you're getting back is specific to you. Wasn't nothing pertaining to that. Or are you taking more courses too? That also too.
Next question they have is just about math anxiety. Is there any, they're just a little worried about starting math online this Monday. Do you have any tips or words of wisdom?
I think we all could probably say something because you said the word math and I just got anxiety.
Yep.
So, but you know what, the one thing I would say though is that we have great staff, great counselors to kind of talk and have a conversation with, because they also could advise academically, and some of them actually teach within the system. So they know about support and resources. So we have our counselors that are available on a campus by setting up an appointment, but then we also have them online. And I would also say for any tips is, ask every question you can. Raise your hand when you can. Hold instructors accountable when it comes down to them providing that service by teaching you that course, right? But remember, it's not what you learn in the class, it's application, right? What am I doing outside of the class? They say technically a student should have an additional 15 to 20 hours per week on top of their going to class of studying, right? So make sure you're just studying, going over what you learned that time frame. Put a time of the day or the night when kids aren't bothering you or your husband's around or you don't got to go to work. Try to find maybe 30 to 40 minutes of just reviewing what you did, and then questions you writing down under those review notes and imposing them to the instructor.
And if I can add to that, that was an excellent response, Dean St. Soren. In addition to that, remember the Math Cafe is available. So if you get stuck on a math problem or you need some additional help, all you have to do is click the button and there will be facilitators available there to assist you. So you don't have to go at this alone. We are here to support you. I also know that our student success coaches, as well as our Perkins group, they have test anxiety tips that they can also go over with you. And so we just have an abundance of resources, right? So we just need you to take advantage of those resources and incorporate them into your life. And hopefully that level of anxiety that you have in regards to math, or even if it's in regards to writing, hopefully that'll decrease.
One last thing I would say is just remember that procrastination fuels anxiety. So don't save your homework or save studying for a test to the last minute. Work on it throughout the week. Take advantage of those hours that Dr. Sansarin talked about and make sure that you're touching base on your classes every day to make sure that you're working toward that end goal of completing your homework assignments and preparing for a test.
The next question is geared toward Dr. Evans at South, but it is a general question about our campus coverage. How will they be run this semester?
I can help with that answer too, Dr. Evans.
I'm going to defer to Dr. St. Saran.
Yeah, so the campus coverage or the food pantries will be available at each location, but it will be limited within the hours. So something we had to do was go through, do a reorganization, re-staff, re-chart, look at what's expired, what's not, and that was a process. And now we've done that. And now the staff is working to see at all locations, we have a set time and date at each location. So if a student is over here or students over there, they know on Wednesdays from 10 to 2, that will be available. That'll be posted as soon as we finish up working with the staff and the details align.
Next question is about a remote option for ACC 104. The student found out only recently after they had registered for the class that they were interested in having a Zoom online class, but were only given the in-campus option and want to know, is there anything they could do about that?
If the student would like to reach out to me personally, I will put my email address within that Q&A area. If you reach out to me personally, I will see if there are any other sections available that could meet your needs.
The next students asked that they ordered an Amatrol 4-month student access several weeks ago and have received an email stating that it's ready for pickup. Their understanding is that they will receive an email with a link to the credentials, which could be delivered to the junk folder. They've checked their junk folder and have found no email with a link to the item. They also logged into the bookstore and checked their orders, but there's no link to the credentials, only confirmation that Amatrol 4-month student access was ordered. What should they do, as Amatrol was not cheap and they don't want to lose what they've already paid for?
What I'm going to do, there was another question that I answered pertaining to the bookstores. I'm going to post up in the chat contact information, direct contact information to the bookstores and reach out to the bookstore managers. Or what I'll do then is, let me do this. In the chat, I'll put my email address and direct phone number as well, but I will add in the bookstore numbers. Now, I am a slow typer, everyone. So when I'm adding these numbers for each location, be patient with me, okay?
The next one is, when is the first payment due for fall semester and where could they make that payment?
Sorry, I was muted. Our student accounts offices are open and you can come on campus to make your payment for classes prior to the start. If you decide to do that, you can also go online and set up payment arrangements through our student accounts link. I believe you have access to that through the My CCAC portal, so you can do that there.
Can students have jobs on campus as an OPT after graduation?
I am going to take that one. And again, that's another great question for Mr. Bob Russo. And again, his information was posted earlier, so you can reach out with any of your OPT questions to him.
All right. I see a couple questions in here asking for clarification about parking passes.
Thanks,
and
Kate.
People are required to receive student IDs for like clinicals, how they would go about that.
Thanks, Kate.
So I can let you know, the registration offices have been working with our nursing and allied health students to print updated IDs that will be needed for clinicals. So everyone should be getting phone calls if they have not already. If there is not a photo in the system, we will invite you in for an appointment to take your student ID photo, and we will print that updated ID for you. For new students, if you do not have classes on campus this semester, a photo ID won't really be necessary at this point in time, but we can certainly work with you in the future to get that student ID.
And when that comes up, yeah. And then for parking passes too, our security at each location does those. So if you would happen to be on campus, you go to the security office, you could have your parking pass and your permit done there.
The next question I have is part of the QA, but how are clubs and organizations going to be promoted? Will there be an event like we have in the gym every year?
And I'm so surprised you didn't answer.
Am I allowed to? Because I can.
Yes, you go ahead, sir.
Okay. All right. So what's going to happen is the event's going to be virtual on September 3rd, 2nd and 3rd at 2 different times that I can't think of right now, but you'll get information about that. All of our clubs and organizations will be promoted. Clubs, organization, intramurals, and athletics will all be promoted at that time. It will be a virtual Zoom event, just like you would have at your individual campuses. We just have online this year.
And if I can just add to that, we most definitely encourage students to try to get involved and participate in some club or organization while they're on campus. It has been proven that it will help with your academic success and your retention while you're in college. So please take a look at what the campuses are offering. Take a look at some of those activities that are available online and see how you can get involved as a student here at CCAC.
Next question is, would someone be able to work study in the cupboard, or will all work study positions be online?
I know right now we're working with financial aid to make sure we get a concrete plan with regards to work studies on campus, which I think we will have. And depending on the need for hours at each location, yes. It's all dependent on the need. Okay. And at the same time, also too, oh, I'm sorry, Ben, also too, remember something that we're trying to do is we're also trying to limit foot traffic coming on campus as well.
The next question is, will I be able to go to the campus to turn in the GAP scholarship application? Will financial aid office be open for in-person appointments?
So the GAP scholarship application is actually online. And what I'll do then is, was this individual anonymous, Ben?
Hold on. No, they're not actually.
All right, and it's, okay, how about it? Just send me an email with their name. So what I could do then is I'll send them something. But the GAP Scholarship is online under the Educational Foundation. You could actually complete that. But the financial aid offices, you can still come in and inquire pertaining to that. But there are phone numbers, and they also have virtual appointments that they're setting up. And if you go on that weekly COVID-19 calendar, you'll see some information about that.
I can add to that. All of the forms that we use that you might need to complete, we've made fillable for you online. And so it's easier to do. You won't have to worry about printing those off. You can simply type in your information, save it, and then submit that application to us directly via email. And so it kind of saves time. We get it immediately, and we can go from there.
Next question, can I get work study at the West Hill Center even though I am not taking classes there anymore?
I'm sorry, Ben, one more time. What was the question? I heard work study and I heard West Hills.
They're interested in being a work study at the West Hill Center, even though they're not taking classes, I'm assuming, at that center anymore, but they're still a student.
Oh, yeah. From what I understand, yeah, as long as you're a CCAC student taking courses that current semester, you could be a work study at any CCAC location.
All right, the next question is, who is eligible for the GAP scholarship?
All right, let me see. Dr. St. Soren is pulling up that information. You want to go to the website, the ccac.edu website, and put in GAP scholarship. And basically, you'll be able to pull up that fillable application, and right on there is our eligibility criteria. There is a requirement. We are looking for students that are at least enrolled in 6 credits. We are looking to establish need, that you've actually completed the financial aid process, and that you are in good standing with the college financially as well as behaviorally. So those are the things that we are looking at for that particular application. But Dr. St. Soren, can you add to that?
You actually answered it. You did. That's why I wanted to give the specific criteria, but you broke down the criteria. I would say that international students are ineligible for state and federal financial aid, but they are not required to complete that process. But basically, you broke it down.
All right, the next question, I just had like 5 come in now. The first one is, they went to the bookstore and did not have their course listed. Does that mean there is nothing they need for the class?
I would actually ask what the course is. If you can drop the course number and section in the chat, I can take a look for you to make sure that everything is ready to go for that particular class.
Mm-hmm.
Is that they got a letter from honors program and student government, and I think that it requires a fee to join the program. So how is that how it is with those programs, and how do they help them as a student?
And can you repeat that?
Sure. It's they got a letter from, it looks like the honors program and student government, and they think it requires a fee to join the program. And so that is that how it is with the program, and how do they help them as a student?
So if it's Phi Theta Kappa, Ben, I'll have you speak a little bit to it. But if it's Student Government Association, there's not a fee to join and participate in student government.
Right. So there's a couple ways, because I think what they're probably talking about is the honors program through CCAC, because I know they sent their letters out now. Fee to join the honors program at CCAC. There's just enhanced honors courses that you can take along with your other classes with the college, and you get the honors certification or notation on your diploma. Then there's also Phi Theta Kappa, which is the honor society for the 2-year system. There is a fee for that. It can help you get scholarships in the 4-year set. But if you talk to someone who is an advisor, I'm actually one of the advisors to South Campus, you can actually get your fee waived with that if you're interested in that and don't have the money to pay the fee. And student government, there is no charge for that. That is just another leadership organization. All these organizations will help you develop yourself as a student. You'll be able to network and be able to work in a group with people, and it looks good on a resume and in a portfolio.
Thanks, Ben.
So back to the next question I have is, what class is DVS 060 College Academic Strategies?
I can talk to you about that. The College Academic Strategies is a course that is paired with our DVS 070 reading course, but DVS 060, that College Academic Strategies, is designed to help you with note-taking skills, preparing for exams, so basic things that are going to help you throughout your first semester and throughout your time at the college.
And at this point, there are no more wow, 2 questions came up just as I was finishing it up. So number 1, the first anonymous attendee, I will send you my information. And then I have a statement from Erin McLean, who is now the co-president of the South Chapter, that they're both in Honors and Phi Theta Kappa. Both are wonderful and helpful organizations and a good way to stay connected while we're in quarantine. Honors classes are generally smaller sections and always a hybrid with the class session and work on Blackboard. PTK will help you develop leadership and research skills. And that's why she's co-president, because she knows what she's talking about. Next one is how we get links to the Zoom classes and convert it to online learning classes. How do we know which books to buy? We've covered some of these things. We can always cover them again for any latecomers.
Your instructor will provide the Zoom links, and correct me if I'm wrong, team, through either the course syllabus or some instructor. For example, I'm teaching a course, I'm reaching out, I'm looking at my list, I'm reaching out to students ahead of time saying, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. But your instructor will provide the Zoom links, and depending on your instructor, it probably will be a reoccurring Zoom link, right? If it's an asynchronous class, if it's a synchronous class where it's meeting Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 to 9, it'll probably be the same time. Actually, it will be the same time, the same Zoom link. And what's the second part to that question, Ben?
Just getting book information. They were asking about that.
So as Dr. Evans, I think she said it before too, if you do go on the CCAC shop and you go into, and you literally list the class, the section, the term, name of the course, it'll let you know what books are needed for, or books, course materials are needed for that class.
May I add to your response there? This is in addition to the information coming from your instructor. You want to make sure you set up that net ID and you have access to your academic email, because that's where you're going to find that information. So your instructors may have been emailing you all this time and you may not be aware. So definitely set up that net ID, get into your academic email, look around, the information may be waiting on you.
Okay, the next question I have is, can international students travel outside the US during this semester?
That's a great question. Typically, we don't recommend that students travel outside of the US during the semester, just because it's going to take a little longer than the amount of time you would have between your classes. But again, I would talk with Mr. Russo about that, talk about the travel considerations that are in place, and he can provide some better info for you.
Okay. That was the final question, unless any more comes up. Going once. No.
You guys had some great questions.
Had a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I love about great questions is that it prepares us for the next town hall, right? Because these are great questions that we could know and we've heard and we've answered, both we share with each other. But then also too is, as fellow students and fellow colleagues, you can share with your peers as well. You know, if they weren't able to attend this town hall, you can let them know about what you learned today. We do have one tomorrow, and correct me if I'm wrong, team, is 5 p.m.
That's right.
Sounds right.
Okay.
I do have another bookstore question about what happens if you can't find your book for your class. Does that mean you don't need a book for that class?
I would say if you're not seeing a book listed within the bookstore based upon your section, you're going to want to check with your instructor to see if a book will be required. We are using a lot of open educational resources now, so it may be that we have found a way to not require the purchase of a textbook for your course, but we're actually able to provide the resources to you free of charge. So I would say if you're not seeing it, you can reach out to your instructor or wait until that first day just to double check and see if a book is going to be required.
All right, looks like we once again have, oh, there we go. Delivery options were discussed from the bookstore. Will the student be charged for delivery, or will that be offered as a free service? So it's a really good question.
I know this is during, and I should give a direct answer, but I remember prior to that, the bookstore was extending and not charging for that. But let me get the number.
So my current understanding is that students will be charged for delivery of books. That's my current understanding. But you can also remember, if you need to, you can pick them up. You can come during their limited hours and actually come and pick up your books as well. So that option is available to you.
At the option of getting it shipped to the bookstore, here, get the location. Let me find out.
Now, if you guys are anything like me, you're going to think of a question as soon as we have turned off this Zoom meeting, and you're not going to know the answer. You can certainly refer back to the website for a lot of your questions. You can reach out to us through the online dean and ask any questions that you may have. Your answer will not be a mystery. We will get you an answer and get it to you prior to the start of the term.
And there was someone who had in a Q&A anonymously. I sent them a private message too. Yeah, make sure you email us with the information or with the questions that you're asking. All right, Kate, Ben, how we looking?
There are no questions in the queue.
Nice.
All right, and I think no questions in the chat as well. I think Amanda raised her hand. Amanda, you have a question? If so, can you place it in the Q&A?
Amanda actually just joined us and is interested in knowing if there is another opportunity to have these questions answered and attend one of these town halls coming up.
As a matter of fact, there is. We are having one final student town hall tomorrow at 5 p.m. You can click and join us right from the homepage, and we will be sharing all the information we shared today and potentially more depending on the questions that we get.
All right, so I think we've come to the end.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us. We're happy that we had the opportunity to interact with you before getting started on Monday. And as I said before, again, if you should have questions, feel free to reach out. We'll be happy to answer those in any way we can. Vladimir, Tiffany, any parting words for our audience?
No, we're just happy to see everyone fall 2020, both virtually, and if you do have a face-to-face, please understand that at each location we have a first stop that's located, and we have an administrator that will be there to assist, a live body to answer questions. And I said this yesterday, even though it's 3 of us and we're at respectively our locations, you could ask us any question from any campus because we service all students. So there will be times where Kristen will be here, Vlad will be there, Tiffany will be running around at different locations throughout the fall. So when the online dean is up, it's all of us answering it. We're not just tied down to one specific location. So we're here to help.
My parting words is we're looking forward to having a great fall 2020. and hopefully seeing you in the classes if you're enrolled on site. If you're enrolled online, we'll still be available to offer you all of the same support. And so just have a great semester.
Ben, Kate, thank you so much for holding it down.
Thank you.
I was
Sure,
trying.
guys.
I was trying to talk and type at the same time, couldn't do it, answer questions. I was like, you know what? I'm glad Ben